I'm Cassidy, one of your Indianapolis Colts cheerleaders, and you're watching the Bleav in Colts podcast.
What's going on, Colts Nation? This is Bleav in Colts, brought to you by Bet Online. I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, is my guy, Jerraud Powers. Jerraud, that was an excellent week of college football this past week. Did you get your fill?
I did, man. I told you last pod, everything's starting to feel normal again. So with some of the college football craziness that's happening on opening weekend, kind of happy football season is back. So I definitely watched college football all last weekend.
Yeah, I got to watch some too with some boys, some friends of mine. We all kind of hung out online and watched some streams and stuff, and watched a few games, watched the IU comeback victory, and we watched the Notre Dame OSU game.
Are y'all big IU fans?
Around here, there's a few of us, right?
Okay.
There's a few of
How did the running back do? Shavers, number 8. I know he got killed one play, viral, but how did he make any plays? Yeah, that's a good good friend of mine. Well, I guess I'm more of a mentor of his. That's my guy.
Okay. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember all of the whole game because I didn't get to watch the whole game because I came in about I don't know, about halfway through the game. But actually, I could look it up just to see.
You don't have to.
All right. Because that's a good question, man. I would like to know myself now.
Yeah, I want to say he's a starting running back. I was just wondering if he had a big game or not.
All right. Well, I mean, just the fact that they won, that's big. You know, that's the way they came back and won was something that was just kind of shocking, in my opinion. That the last drive of the game, come back to win the game, was pretty big, in my opinion. It kind of blew Twitter up quite a bit. A lot of people that I follow and follow me on Twitter was all over the place talking about how IU they didn't have a chance by the way they were playing the last couple drives of the game. Mm-hmm. And then they came back and won it, you know, and they kind of went away from the run on the last drive, went to the shotgun, you know, 4 wide setup, and they threw the ball very, very well. So, you know, that was
okay. IU, I see you.
Yeah. All right. So going into this episode, we got week 1 and on the getting ready to happen this weekend. Obviously, that's huge for the NFL. Man, there's a ton of games that I'd love to watch. Obviously, we're going to be covering the Colts and Texans for the most part on Thursday on our breakdown video. Today, we'll probably touch a little bit on it, as you were talking about earlier. But first and foremost, I just want everybody to know that Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports contests and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head over to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BLEAV50, that's BLEAV50, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. So I dropped a little questionnaire, and there's questions on here about multiple things. Basically, just general questions for the Indianapolis Colts. For you and I, and we're going to go ahead and jump into them real quick and see how this conversation goes from there. Colts Loyalist 56 drops a question, says, what's the biggest difference between what we should expect week 1 from the D and say week 8 from the D, you know, aside from possible injuries and things of that nature?
In my opinion, I will probably say it's the ironing out like the chemistry and the details of everybody's role. When you start week one, it's almost like you got I guess, a blank canvas as an artist, if you want to use this kind of analogy. You got like a blank canvas, and you want to start off strong. So the guys that the coaches got in place, the starters, the schemes, the different grouping, the different packaging, you're just hoping that everything hits how you think it's gonna hit, as far as you strategically putting guys in position to make plays. And that's what everybody's hoping. Everybody's hoping to just get off to a fast, quick start. Not a lot of mental mistakes. You want to keep the mentals down. So the thought or the plan that you got going into the season, you just hope you got everybody in the right place, and the high hopes that you got for each player, you hope becomes true. Considering that everything counts now. So you hope that smart linebacker that you might have starting, that's been great all camp, transitions to the season and having a great start to the season. So you just hope everything's in place how it's supposed to be in place. Compared to week 8, you are who you are. Seldom do teams just change in the middle of the season. Teams do get better as the season get on, but by week 8, everybody's gonna have a clear picture of who can do what this team look like. Are you a good defense, bad defense? You're gonna be who you're gonna be at the end of the day. So you just hope right now that everybody start off fast.
Yeah, and the way I look at it, when you have a new defensive coordinator with a new group of guys, starting off fast could be legitimately something that will happen, right? Because there's not a lot of tape with this DC, with his schemes, or any other thing that he's doing with these new group of people. So, teams week 1 are kind of guesstimating basically what's going to come at him, right? Offense or defensively. So
Yeah, in a sense, but at that same token, when we're talking about professional sports, like Gus, it don't matter if Gus was here, another place. You got plenty of film to study strategically, X and O's, what the scheme is, what he likes. Because as a coach, you are who you are, just like players. And then there's plenty film, obviously on our guys and what they can do skill set wise. So when you're talking scouts and coaches getting together to put up a game plan, you can kind of get some data from some different places to kind of get an expectation on how guys is going to play in a certain system or how they're going to look in a certain scheme. So just I'm not trying to disagree with the point, because you are right, because that first start of the season, it is some kind of guesstimating that you're expecting them to do certain things, but you're not really sure yet, just because there's no film on this group in particularly, but you have an idea, I guess, on how things are gonna go, because like I said, Gus been in the league for years, so he has a clear, I guess, rap about who he is as a coach and what type of scheme he is, and then you just add that with the skill set players that the coach have, and you just formulate a plan together off of what you see and analyze.
So something else that I we're going to kind of build off that a little bit here. The Colts also have John Fox, right?
Yes.
And that's people forget about that. It's always so focused on Gus Bradley, because obviously he's the commander in chief of this defense, but John Fox is here to be a guy to bring in his own wisdom and stuff as well, to be there to assist Gus Bradley. Will that throw some wrinkles into what other teams might be expecting, and what the Colts might produce out on the field?
No, I wouldn't say that would throw a wrinkle in what other teams expect, but I will say it's going to throw wrinkles as far as what Gus Bradley can do. I mean, anytime you can have somebody like John Fox on your staff, just basically an extra set of eyes, an extra set of ears, somebody that you trust, and he's got a good wrap around the league, been in the league for years, experienced it all, played on some Super Bowl teams, and coached on some Super Bowl teams, just got a good rap as a coach. It's always to have, just somebody on your side that can kind of keep you sharp, if that makes sense. See things coming before it happened. And I think he's going to be, a great value or asset to this team this year. It wouldn't be no different than, how Gosh, my man, he was the quarterback coach for Indy forever. I just went blank dead. And now he's with the Bucks helping out with BA and everybody over there. Geez, Colts offensive coordinator with Peyton days. I just went blank dead. He's been coaching for years.
Hamilton?
No,
No.
It talks like talks real slow. I forget about it. I just went blank dead. But kind of like him, he's always was just an extra set of offensive ears that just knew the game. So when BA was making calls or if BA didn't see things, right, he had somebody on his side to keep him sharp. The name's gonna come to me in a second, though.
Okay.
You're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe.
We've had so many coaches, and it's hard for me to remember every single one of them off the top of my head and know the exact dates that they were there for. So those of you listening, I apologize. It is it is what it is when it comes to that. Let's see here. Let's get to the next question then and move on from that one. Tom Williams.
Tom Moore. That's his name.
Tom Moore.
Coach Moore. Jeez.
I completely forgot he was on the Bucks.
Freaking legend. Tom Moore.
I completely forgot he was on the Buccaneers. Wow. All right. Yeah, and that kind of hurts a little a little bit inside because yeah. I remember when I found that out, and I was like, no. But
well, he was in Arizona as well. So when I played in Arizona and BA was the coach there, BA hired him as like an analyst or offensive assistant. But he was really just an extra set of eyes and ears to keep BA kind of sharp or ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Hey, guys, please smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, and tag that notification bell so that you're notified next time I go live. Don't forget, you can also share this video to your favorite social media, and please open up that description of the video. In there, you find a link to my Patreon, which is only $5 a month. Get all of my content, plus Patreon-specific content, and, of course, my merch shop right here. So Tom Williams wants to know, does Jerraud believe that Gilly Lock can get back to the way he played in 2019 when he was Defensive Player of the Year?
Why do everybody think Gilly Lock just fell off or had a bad year? He came off of injury, and it was after 6 games. And then if you watch the film, I know the Panthers won good, and the Panthers didn't have a good year last year, so things can get kind of misconstrued. But when you watch the film, Gilly still was Gilly. I don't understand. I mean, every year you're not going to have the 10 picks and all the statistics. But if you look at the film, he was still matching up with the number 1 receivers and still doing his part as winning the share of his battles. So I think Gilly's going to have a great year. I haven't seen the drop off that I guess everybody else is talking about or what they saw last year. I mean, he might not have had the defensive MVP type of year last year. Again, he was coming off injury, but he for damn sure didn't have a bad year last year, just in my opinion.
Well, I mean, like you said, he missed all those games coming back from an injury and still made the Pro Bowl. I mean, that's something, right?
Damn credit.
Also, I mean, reports out of camp, and when I say reports, I mean my own eyes. Stephon Gilmore has been locked down. Now, has he been beat a couple times? Yes, but
every corner can. You go to practice. Yeah. Every corner is getting beat at practice every now and then. But we will see on Sunday.
But for the most part, yeah, he's been locked down. I mean, come on, guys. We will see. You're right. We will see on Sunday, right? Another question coming in here from Rondo wants to know, would this Colts team, in your opinion, beat the all-time Texans team on a neutral field?
No. I don't know. It's any given Sunday, so anything can happen. But when you're talking about all time, versus a current team, I mean that you're talking about. I'll have to see that on paper, but I'm not sure because the Texans came around what year? They haven't been around like too long. So
no, they came. they came in right about the same time the Texans. Now we're just talking Texans, not Houston in general, right? Because if we're going back to the Oilers, then there's
Yeah,
no
we're just
way.
talking yeah, Oilers. We got to go to
Yeah,
Tennessee,
yeah. And you got
Houston, and all that. But
Warren
yeah, we're just
Moon
talking
and all them guys, you
yeah.
know. But
All right,
no,
yeah, that's interesting. That's I've never had anybody ask a question like that. A
that
Colts team
yeah.
versus an all-time team.
I mean, if you go all-time Colts, all-time Indianapolis Colts versus all-time Houston Texans, I'm gonna lean
Yeah,
Colts
for
hard.
sure.
But just this team, the Houston Texans have had some pretty solid dudes on that team. J.J. Watt in his prime may have been the best defensive end in football. I mean,
Exactly. Arian Foster,
yeah, Arian Foster was on that team. You know, they've had a
Andre
lot of
Johnson. Yeah, for sure.
Andre Johnson, yeah. They've had some very, very good players on the Houston Texans. No matter, I mean, yes, I understand the Indianapolis Colts right now have a ton of talent on this team and all that, but it's
No,
hard. It's hard to beat an all-time team,
yeah,
even even
no.
even if that all-time team is only 20 some years old. You know.
Yeah, because we had some guys that was at the best of their positions at certain parts of their careers there. So yeah, for sure. Glover Quinn at safety.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian Cushing and them boys they had at linebacker for those years. They've had some good players.
Yeah, absolutely. Whitney Merciless when he was
Yep.
in his prime was pretty darn good. So
Yep.
yeah, I'm gonna have to go that route with you. I'm just gonna have nah, I don't think so.
But
Uh
any given Sunday, anything can happen.
yeah, any given Sunday, you know. Every week there were times last year where, you know, you would think that, you know, I mean, Jacksonville beat Indianapolis week 18, right?
Right. Right.
Jacksonville beat Buffalo. So, you know, in one of the ugliest games of the year last year, they beat Buffalo. So,
Right.
yeah, you're right. Any given Sunday. B-Ball Pro 1800 asks, which side of the ball is easier to look mid-season form early, offense or defense?
Defense. Because like I said, offense is about kind of building. Like you never see an offense look great early on. I mean, you just go back and just look at the history. I mean, yeah, you might see teams look great one week and then maybe 2 weeks, and then that third or fourth week they kind of have a kind of up and down little spurt. But defensively, you put in your playbook, the entire playbook within the first week of camp. That's how kind of fast the defense moves, just because everything's a little bit simplified or it's kind of easier to pick up when it comes to learning a defensive system rather than offense. Everything's precise. You got to depend on so many other factors and things like that. So definitely defense. Defense should definitely be ahead of the curve as far as playing, I guess, in top tier form and what you expect sooner than the offense. You just want your offense hot late in the year.
Yeah, definitely. Well, defense early on, defense in the running game kind of establish, especially
Mhm.
with this team, right? Defense and running game, establish yourselves early in the season. Um, Even though Matt Ryan and this offense has had the entire offseason to actually work well together, you know, unlike last year where Carson Wentz was missed the entire um, preseason, training camp, all that, he's still, you know, they didn't have a lot of in-game looks, right? I mean, they
Yeah.
had two practices with the Lions, and then they had what, a quarter in the third game that they ran for the most part. Uh, I still expect a little bit of uh, trying to, you know, get to know each other on the field week one in that aspect of you know, knowing what the player is going to do at a specific time when it comes to throwing the football. But the running game and defense should definitely, in my opinion, you know, from what I've seen in the past, kind of light up a lot earlier in the season than what a passing game would. Uh,
Plus, it's I mean, you're going against the best in the world now. You're not going against, backups or
mm-hmm.
or situations to where just not they don't have their best guys. Like you're going against the best people in the world. We're talking about billionaire franchises that want the best product on the field and want to win. So these are the best players they could possibly find at the moment, to put out there. So of course, offensively, it takes some time. Now you got, like I said, Matt Ryan and the offense might go out there Sunday and look great, but early on, you just can't expect that week in, week out until you kind of go through some rough patches, which I think we will. Now, when I say rough, you'll just see some chemistry type issues early on until things get clicking or things are oiled like a machine. So you're right, defense definitely easier to kind of, I guess, get that thing going compared to the offense.
Aaron Scott Cornell drops a question. With him being now on the 53-man roster, do you think that we will ever see a Wildcat set play with Sam Ehlinger? Enjoy your week.
We are not going to see Sam Ehlinger this season. I hope we do not see Sam Ehlinger this season. Sam Ehlinger on Sundays might not dress out, even though he's on he made the 53-man. I'm pretty sure on Sunday they're going to just use 2 QB spots as far as to dress out and use that other dress out spot for another position in need or whatever the case may be. So for Colt fans' sake, you will be happy if you do not see Sam Ehlinger play this season. That means that something's bad has happened to our QB room. So just be happy that, we got a QB that's developing and heading towards the right direction. And hopefully sometime soon he might be the face of the Colts. But for right now, let's just continue to try to get this guy better. And it's going to be on the scout team. We do not want to see him in season. That means we've had 2 quarterbacks go down, and that's never a good sign for a team.
No, and also if you have to break out the Wildcat formation because you think you need that to win a game, then again, that's not a situation you want to be in, right?
I'm not putting Sam in for a Wildcat. I might tell Jonathan Taylor, how about you get at QB for a Wildcat before I tell Sam
or Hines,
or Hines,
yeah, or Hines. Or how about Jelani Woods, who was a quarterback in college, right? Yeah. So that's interesting. But yeah, I've talked about this earlier this week, actually, with a bunch of guys, friends of mine over on my Discord, where we want to see a whole bunch, like every week. You have your inactives list, and you want to see that full of names that are not out because of injury, right? Yeah. that's it. We want to see Sam on there because injury. There's no injury, so there's no reason for him to be on the list,
right?
So you're right. That's if Sam's out there on there because it's because somebody got hurt, and that's not a good sign. It's not a good sign at all. What changes? Colts loyalists asked the second question here, and we got time. So what changes do you think that Coach Bradley will implement to allow his D to stand out from his past defenses?
Good question, I guess. I know, but the Gus Bradley from my era was considered one of the top defensive coordinators in the league. So even though maybe the past couple of years his defense might not have performed to his standards, he still is an elite defensive-minded coach. So changes. I don't know what changes. Maybe he gets better in his play call. I don't know how he evaluates himself and making himself better. But sometimes it's about the Jimmies and Joes, the guys that you have on defense that make coaches great. And when you look at the guys that we have on defense, we have some potential superstars, some guys that can we have stars, don't get me wrong, but we got some other guys that's kind of starting to get on the scene and can blossom into some superstars as well. So when you got the Jimmies and the Joes, normally your coaches are going to look good. So I think with our defense and the stars we got, they're going to make Gus look good no matter what call he makes.
This channel is proudly sponsored by the Backroom Collection. They do beautiful sports canvas art with football, basketball, baseball, and other sports themes. Special orders are accepted and autographed pieces are available. Many Indianapolis Colts signed pieces will be available beginning in November. Just use your discount code CL10 to purchase the pieces you want to spice up your living area. That's CL10. Well, back in your day, I just when you had to like study film and stuff, was he did he run much man? Because I think this team, I think he's even discussed it even with me that he will probably run a lot of man coverage this season.
When I went against him when he was at Seattle, with Richard and and all those boys, yeah, I mean he had the guys that can play man to man. Even though they were a zone type scheme, they had a lot of man to man type principles within that scheme. And you look at the secondary they had with Earl Thomas and Richard Sherman and then Bobby Wagner and all those type of guys. Those guys was athletic enough and could run with anybody. So if the situation presents itself, I don't think Gus is scared at all to play man to man because we got guys that can play man to man coverage.
Yeah, I like Gus. When I was down there at training camp and we was talking, he's kind of very personable, right? He's a guy that you can really approach and talk. Yeah. He's very, very, very open with himself. He doesn't seem like off-putting at all. I really like how he presents himself out there. But that's good insight. It's good to know because I think everybody in the entire NFL knows that Stephon Gilmore is very good at man-to-man.
No
so
you don't pay Stephon Gilmore, what is it, $12-13 million for a 1-year deal if you don't think he can play.
How often do defenses implement a scheme where one guy flows man-to-man with the best receiver on the field and the rest of the team runs kind of a zone?
It kind of just depends on the DC, if that's something that he prefers or is that something that he likes. In Seattle, I think Richard Sherman had a couple games or a couple instances to where he might have matched up with the number one guy, but typically he kind of stayed on his side and just played scheme. So if that's something that Gus sees that can help the defense, I don't think that, he'll shy away from putting Gilly in the best situation possible, which that's what he's been doing his whole career is following number one guys and shutting them down. So I can see certain instances or situations Gilly might travel with the one, but typically with Gus, he just plays right and left corner.
Okay. And they don't travel? Do the when I say travel, does he follow the receiver, right? Like if you got the number one corner, would Gilmore move with the number one corner or would he stay on one side? Do you think? Like
that's what I'm saying. Like
the wide receiver, yeah.
But that's what I mean. In Seattle with Gus, when he had Richard Sherman and all those boys, I think in certain games Richard might have traveled here or there, but Gus wasn't typically the guy that matched up in that type of way. He just had whoever was his right corner play right side and whoever was the left corner play left side. Now, if I think with Gilly's situation, maybe a little different. He's been traveling with the number one corner his entire career. So I can see Gus, if he feels that's what's best for this week, is for Gilly to go to the side to wherever the best receiver is, him doing that. But typically, I wouldn't expect Gus to do that just because he hasn't done it much in the past.
I'm sorry. I misunderstood your answer there earlier. With the depth the Colts have, another thing that I wanted to bring up when it comes to the defense, you got Brandon Faison and Rogers out there on cornerback, right? Kind of, and then of course at safety, Nick Cross and McLeod and Blackman. You got guys just in the backside of the depth. Do you think there'll be a lot of instances where you could see different guys in due to the personnel that they see on the offense, or do you think this is more of a snap count situation where people will just be relieved due to they need a break?
I think last pod we talked about once the season started, guys understanding their roles, and that's just what it is. You gotta roll a piece of the puzzle, and you're trying to play your role the best you can to help the team win. I think when it comes to the depth, when it comes to secondary, I think we got some guys that can play. Still a few guys that's kind of unproven, or whatnot with the young guys. That's as far as backing up on the safety positions, and the rookie corner that we have, but when they show any type of when the offense shows any type of 3 receiver personnel grouping, typically we're going to go nickel to where Kenny Moore slides to the inside and plays a slot, and then the next best corner comes in. So when you list the corners from 1 to 7 or however many we got on the depth chart, it's not just you got a right corner, left corner, and who's the backup left corner, who's the backup right corner. When you just list them from best to worst, or however you want to put it, not worse as in you're a bad corner, but from within the group, best to worst, you got Gilly 1, Kenny Moore 2, then it's number 3, so you go like that. So whoever's the next best corner is going to come in and fill that outside corner role. So if they go a 4 wide receiver personnel group and expect another DB to come in and kind of match up with personnel, but if there's any type of base type look, it is what it is at the end of the day on who's the starters, who's the backups, and who's going to play. Because now you got guys with big roles on special teams. You got guys with big roles within the defense in itself. So you'll see a bunch of guys play, but it's all about based on the availability of the guys in front of them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense. But that brings up another question, because you brought up Kenny Moore. And last year, Kenny Moore led the team and I think was top 5 in the NFL when it came to percentage of defensive snaps.
Yeah.
Like it was like 98%.
Yeah, he'll probably play every snap of the game just off of his personnel group. And same with Gilly. Like with Gilly being the left corner, the starting left corner, he's not coming off the field. Anytime the defense out there, unless it's like a big personnel to where there's no wide receivers in the game, Gilly's going to be on there. And what makes Kenny Moore play so many snaps is, like I said, he's on the starting base defense, meaning, if it's just 2 wide receivers out there, you got Gilly and you got Kenny Moore, and they're out there. And then if you're bringing in other guys, Gilly's not coming off the field by any means, by any stretch. So, he's going to be out there. That's no different, when I played with the Colts. I was a starting right corner, but anytime we went any type of sub package players to where wide receivers were coming in the field, I slid in and played the slot. So I rarely came off the field unless it was some type of short yardage situation where everybody knew it was going to be a run. There's no wide receivers in the game, so you needed some bigger bodies. But other than that, if you're a starter on defense, you're probably going to get all of the snaps.
So I got a question now. With that being said, as now I'm a little bit confused and I need an answer. You just basically said that your top 2 corners generally don't come off the field, right? And
Yep.
your defensive linemen, you need to rotate guys in to give them a break. Why is it that defensive linemen need that break and cornerbacks who run constantly don't need that break as bad?
Because they're 300 pounds and they're 6'5", and their bodies react a little different than us. So when you're talking to D-line and O-line, O-line typically don't come off the field. Those guys, they're on there. D-line is a little different. You see O-line and they pull on run plays. They run a little bit stretch-wise, but you don't see them running down the field 40, 50 yards trying to chase a wide receiver just to, make a tackle. D linemen have to do that, chasing the ball and doing all those things. So they'll get winded. They'll get tired. That's expectations. When it comes to the skill guys, wide receivers, DBs, you train all off season to run. Even though you're going to lift weights, you're going to do all that type of stuff. At the end of the day, if you can't run, you can't play. So you train your whole body to prepare yourself to be able to run all day. So that's why you see those guys, they don't get tired. They're in the best shape of their lives. They'll be able to run all day if that's what they have to. Do DBs get tired? Yeah, they get tired, don't get me wrong. You might see a guy come out for a play or two every now and then because, depending on the situation, you might need a blow. I mean, everybody's human, but it's just not expected for when it starting secondary guys that come off the field. Like, you never saw Reggie Wayne come off the field. You never saw Marvin Harrison come off the field. These guys run all day long. So, D lineman, when you're over 300 pounds and you're sprinting left and right, you're fighting another guy that's 300 pounds as well. Then you're trying to tackle a guy that maybe weighs 180 pounds. It can get a little tired trying to chase the rabbit back there a little bit. So they need a break every now and then.
Speaking of that, Shaquille Leonard. We've heard quite a bit about him. There's been a lot of questions. He is practicing, as we know. He started practicing last week. He is practicing again this week. There is a very good possibility he could start this week. He's playing. I've been saying this for a while, and yeah, the coaches, they're asking, and the coach is like, well, if this and this and this happens, and I'm like, no, he's even if he's on a snap count, he's playing.
Man,
right?
He is playing. It is live. These guys are the most competitive people in the world. Like, it's like when we talked about during training camp, people having. Remember we said, I was like, man, coaches, doctors, everybody have a plan when it comes to certain players coming off injury, training camp. I said it's certain people that, they don't need to show the coaches, what they can do, because we know what he can do. And remember we was talking about Shaquille's back and all that. I'm not letting him touch the field in training camp. If we're going to have a setback with this back, it's going to be within the season when it counts. We're going to make sure you're healthy as you can be week 1. And this is the process. So last week, bye week, pretty much. Everybody's on a bye week last week. Let's ease you back in there. Get a practice or 2 under your belt. Go get an interception, because we saw everybody, you getting a pick and you're bending down and you're doing all those things. We know you feel good, Shaq. This week, game week, he is going to practice today. What's today? Tuesday? They're probably off. They're probably practicing today. They probably gave him off Monday just because different week. You're coming off a bye week, so I'm pretty sure that they probably gave you an extra day far as on the weekend. Get with your families. Now it's the real thing. So they're probably practicing today. And I bet you that he'll probably be on the report as limited practice, meaning that he probably missed 1 period of him just sitting out. And then he's going to be limited again Wednesday. And then they're going to say full Thursday, full Friday. He's starting on Sunday. The guy's playing. There's no way that he'll be practicing right now and not going to play.
Yeah.
Best player on defense. He's playing.
I mean, he was ranked pretty high in the top 100. So, that was surprising to me as well. Not that he didn't deserve it. It's just surprising that, with all the reports of all the other linebackers, like Fred Warner and all them, for him to be the top guy. Now, TJ was higher than him, but TJ's more of a pass rusher, right, than an off-ball linebacker.
It's a lot of beef with linebackers and pass rushers on what's their real position. I know Robert Mathis talk about it all the time on him missing some Pro Bowls just because, certain guys considered linebackers or DNs or however it goes. So
yeah, I understand that. One last thing we're going to talk about before we get out of here. I want to know, so there's been a lot of question. The biggest question mark in this entire offseason has been the passing game, right? Especially when it comes to, is there enough talent, especially veteran talent, to be able to be a not just effective, but good passing team, even if you do, have a Matt Ryan on your team.
I think we do. I know time will tell. I know we will find out soon. But talent, like, do we have the talent? Yes, I do think we have the talent. I think I've been downplaying Pittman's success so far. I mean, the guy did have over 1,000 yards last season. That's a big deal at the end of the day. So we got some guys that's done it, some guys that can prove it. You hope Alec can come in and just, blossom and be another guy, another weapon that we can use right away. You hope that, he's above his learning curve and ready to make some plays. You hope that Parrish, can stay healthy and be able to show the gifts and the talents that he can bring to this offense. And Matt Ryan, for his whole career, have made, a lot of players better than what they really are. He's one of those quarterbacks that can make an average player be better than, what everybody's been thinking or whatever the case may be. So I expect, Matt Ryan to kind of help blossom that room a little bit and make these guys better than, like I said, better than maybe what they really can do. But as long as we stay healthy, I think we'll be fine. I think we're going to be okay. I don't think it's going to be a concern or it's going to be big of a deal as people are like really making it out to be. But just like anything else, we will know. We will find out soon.
Ooh, I got another question. This is more of a player question for you. When it comes to fans, obviously, and analysts and stuff like that, we bring up can this guy stay healthy? He probably can't. He's hurt all the time. Do players, not the player who's getting hurt, but his teammates, when you're sitting there, you may not say it out loud, but is that in your mind as well?
Nah, players really don't listen to what the media, and like when they say that, I know it sounds cliche because every player is like, yeah, we don't listen to the outside. No, like you really don't. In the building, there's no TVs around with, posting whatever, what we're saying in the media or what this person said in the media. There's nothing around for you to even see it. The most that you will see is highlights on ESPN while you're eating lunch in the cafeteria, and that's if the TV's even on. So a lot of times guys don't even necessarily hear or read or see some of the things they're talking about now. If they're searching their name and, looking for what people are saying about them and all that, then yeah, it can creep in a guy's head and mess with him mentally. But a lot of times these professional athletes, man, they're good at blocking out the noise and staying focused on the task at hand. I think more so the media, what we do and what we get from it is the reactions from the fan base or whatnot. But 9 times out of 10, the players that don't read what's written about them, don't hear what's said about them. But the fans sometimes, you got a direct access to players now with social media and all that. So sometimes social media can get kind of overbearing, but you're not just sitting there listening to negative talk. You've been playing big time college ball in today's world. You've been on a platform for years now. So these guys are kind of used to handling the negativity that comes with the game nowadays.
But players are aware, obviously, right? I mean, like, I'm not talking about what media is saying. I'm like if you're on a team and there's a guy that every year gets hurt and is out for the season, gets dropped on IR, within the first 4 or 5 games of the season, and then you get into like year 4, and you're like, you've seen this. Do you think, man, I hope this guy can stay healthy this year because he's got talent, or do you just think, nah?
Players, again, when it comes to players, you're your own business. You're not necessarily worried about the next guy. You want to win, but at the end of the day, you just want to do your job. You want to pay your family, and that's kind of the mindset of players. When it comes to the team, I'm not saying players don't care about winning. That's the ultimate thing. Everybody wants to win, but every player know that when it comes to winning, it comes down to everybody doing their job specifically. And then when it comes to doing your job specifically, that's the reason why you're getting paid. That's the reason why you're doing this for a living. So every player is more so focused on themselves, how to make themselves better. It's a reason why if a guy is on a 53-man roster at the end of training camp and all that, it's a reason why he's there. If the team feels like a guy deserves that spot, maybe he's just that talented. But you're not necessarily, like, if a guy's been hurt 3 years in a row, let's just say Parrish, for instance, he's been hurt since he's been in the league. There's not guys in the locker room saying, like, man, if Parrish, I hope he don't get hurt again. Like, nobody's even thinking like that because everybody's dealing with their own things that they got to deal with within the building in itself.
That's good information to know. I appreciate that.
Scouts or front office type management, Yeah, it might be some talk like, man, I hope Harris can stay, because they're looking at it from I hope we got all the pieces in place to win a Super Bowl or to do this or that. Players looking at it like, yeah, I want to win a Super Bowl, but I want to feed my family. And the only way I can do that is my job at the end of the day, being the best that I can at my job.
All right. That's good information coming from a former NFL player here. Guys, if you're listening to this, please make sure you subscribe and download and share to your favorite social media. If you're on YouTube, please hit that like button. And I think that's going to do it for today. Any final words here, Jerraud, before we walk out of here?
Do not, man. Good day. Good pod.
It was a good pod. It was actually a lot longer than I thought it was going to be.
You say that every week.
Yeah, I know, right? Once we get started, it goes. All right. So this was Bleav in Colts, brought to you by Bet Online. I'm Lawrence Owen. That was Jerraud Powers. And until next time, as usual, go Colts.
Do you Bleav?